Mboga and Mtu wa Mjengo, in short, the hustlers of the country. The opposition leadership led by Right Honorable Raila Odinga positioned themselves as saviors of the Kenyan masses from a regime that would tax them to oblivion. This led to a series of mass protests that proved more injurious than before, and the crisis of the prices of basic commodities moving from bad to worse.
We have had a very fruitful engagement this morning.
10 issues were presented at the onset of the talks, including the creation of state offices, reconstitution of IEBC, accountability of police brutality, high cost of living, and fidelity to political parties, among others. Upon further consultations, the Ruto-Raila teams, through their technical and secretariat teams, consolidated the issues into 5 thematic areas. It, however, became unclear who the public was when it came to receiving memoranda. Legislators, attorney generals, advisors to the executive, governors and former governors all went before the committee to submit their contributions and grievances.
Why should you suffer for 10 years while the regime that wanted you out of office is gone, and there is another regime now which is friendly to you? Why should you be affected because of that regime that has gone home?
We have talked to Kenyans. We have questioned politicians throughout the 49 days or so since the talks began. And while the media can frame an agenda and tell people what to think about, it has been clear as day that these talks were a soft handshake between Ruto and Raila to negotiate posts.
Ofisi ya opposition, okay, kama inaweza leta pia amani, then it's well. But all in all, we need peace.
If the media is running a narrative, then what is the truth? Fuel prices are at an all-time high and electricity proving to be a rich man's luxury. Where is the issue of the cost of living?
And I've always said that this committee will not complete its work without addressing itself to the matter of the cost of living.
The constant bashing of the media by public figures doesn't wish away the unbearable living conditions that Kenyans are facing. The media covered the promises given to Kenyans during campaigns. The media was also there when self-acclaimed saviors of the people in government and opposition vowed to bring down the cost of living. The media was there when the tune changed, resurfacing evidence and facts because our duty first is to the mwananchi. Today, with the economic crisis in mind, if some of the proposals from the Bomas talks initiate a plebiscite, will they see the light of day? Tracy Ochieng reporting for GBS News.
Stakeholders in the health sector have been challenged to consider harm reduction as a key guide in driving public health strategies in Africa. Speaking during the 3rd Annual Harm Reduction Exchange themed Amplifying the Voice of Harm Reduction, Advocacy Across Africa challenged African governments to adopt harm reduction approaches when regulating public health challenges. Here are the details.
Harm reduction is a more transformative strategy than prohibition-based policies, and is better than simply advocating for complete abstinence. This is according to Dr. Gosi Letlape, the President Association of Medical Council of Africa. Dr. Letlape states that they will continue lobbying efforts to spark renewed conversations on tobacco harm reduction among stakeholders, including regulators and policymakers, which could lead to effective regulation and access to non-combustible product alternatives for adult smokers who are unable or uninterested in quitting.
Well, the problem with tobacco harm reduction comes from the WHO. And when you look at the statement that they put out about prevention of non-communicable diseases, one of the things they'll talk about responsible alcohol use. But when it comes to tobacco use, they want to abolish tobacco use. There's no responsible nicotine use. And that's the problem. People now start lying, which is what is cruel about this issue. We've all known that the problem with tobacco is combustion of tobacco. That's where the most problems come. So if you get your nicotine without combusting the tobacco, you will reduce the harm associated with nicotine. That's why in medicine, we give you nicotine replacement therapy.
On her part, Integra Africa Principal Dr. Tendai Mhiza emphasized the role that journalists and media houses should play in handling misinformation and disinformation in tobacco harm reduction discussions.
This is the third time we're running the harm reduction exchange, and it's all about making sure that the strategy of harm reduction is something that is well understood by the media. The media is our fourth estate, and the media are the ones who can only get this message out there to let the citizenry know that they have alternatives, safer alternatives to products and services that they would use which would otherwise be seen as harmful.
Harm reduction refers to the interventions aimed at reducing the negative effects of health behaviors without necessarily extinguishing the problematic health behaviors entirely or permanently. Across the world, harm reduction strategies have been deployed in public health as a pragmatic and compassionate approach to address various issues, particularly in the context of substance use and other risky behaviors. Some of these programs include needle exchange programs, supervised injection sites, condom distribution, nicotine replacement therapy, vaping and e-cigarettes, and supervised consumption of medications. Several African countries have already implemented the harm reduction policies and programs. For example, South Africa has legalized the sale of e-cigarettes and heated tobacco products. Kenya has also taken steps to regulate the harm reduction products and is considering legalizing e-cigarettes. Hilary Kabila, GBS News.